Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we got something truly exciting to talk about because the camera world is buzzing with one of the biggest leaks of the year. And to the heart of it all is Sony's rumored A7V camera that could completely reshape what we expect from a hybrid shooter. Now I know what you're thinking, another Sony camera? How different can it really be? Well, let me tell you, this early leaks are calling it a mini Alpha 1.2, and for good reason. We're talking about a possible 44-megapixel full-frame sensor, AI-driven autofocus 20 frames per second burst shooting, and video specs that sound almost too good to be true, like 4K at 120 frames per second, and even a potential 8K recording mode that, if these rumors are accurate, this won't just be a small step forward from the A7 IV, this could be a giant leap for hybrid shooters, giving us near-flagship performance at half the price at SO. In this video, I'll break down all the latest leaks and rumors, covering the sensor upgrade, autofocus improvements, video features, body design, release timeline, and pricing. By the end, you'll know exactly why the Sony A7V is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated cameras of 2025, why the Sony A7V matters. The A7V is expected to replace the Sony A7 IV, which was already a hugely popular hybrid body. But instead of a small refresh, leaks suggest Sony is preparing something far more ambitious. The A7V could bring performance levels close to the flagship Alpha 1.2, but at less than half the cost. For creators, that means professional-level stills and video in a body that's both powerful and accessible, potentially around $3,000 instead of $6,500. If that holds true, this camera could dominate the mid-range full-frame market and give Canon and Nikon some serious competition. The rumored 44MP sensor, one of the biggest upgrades, is the sensor. Multiple leaks point to a brand-new 44-megapixel backside illuminated BSI full-frame sensor. That's a major step up from the 33MP sensor inside the A7 IV that expects sharper detail, more cropping flexibility, and better resolution for landscapes, portraits, and commercial work. Because it's not stacked, it should keep the price lower than the Alpha 1.2 while still offering excellent low-light performance thanks to the BSI design. Earlier rumors mentioned a 42MP or even a 33MP stack sensor, but right now the 44MP BSI option is looking most likely. Autofocus and AI processing. Sony has been leading the autofocus game for years, and the A7V could take it a step further. Reports suggest it might feature a dedicated AI processing unit, similar to what we've seen in the A9 III and Alpha 1.2. That means advanced subject recognition, humans, animals, birds, vehicles, and maybe even insects. Next-gen eye tracking with predictive motion. Smoother focus transitions for video creators. In short, this would push the A7V into the AI-powered camera era, where autofocus doesn't just lock on, it feels like a smart assistant working alongside you. Speed and burst. Shooting. The A7 IV topped out at 10 frames per second. Impressive for its time, but not enough for sports or wildlife shooters who need speed. The A7V, however, is rumored to double that to 20 frames per second, and with 44MP files, that's a rare combination of speed and resolution. If Sony nails the buffer and processing power, this could make the A7V a go-to option for action, wildlife, and sports photographers who don't want to spend flagship money. Video power: 4K, 120 frames per second, and maybe 8K. Now, let's talk about video, and this is where things get really exciting. 4K at 120 frames per second is almost certain, with either full-frame readout or at worst a very minimal crop. 8K recording is rumored, though not yet confirmed. If true, it would put the A7V up against Canon's EOS R5 and Nikon Z8. Z9 that expect pro video features like S-Log, 3S Cinetone high bit rates, and possibly raw output over HDMI. And perhaps most importantly, Sony is rumored to improve heat management, so long recording sessions won't be cut short by overheating. That if all of this holds true, the A7V could easily be one of the best video hybrids under $3,000. Body and design leaks suggest the A7V could adopt a design closer to the Alpha 1.2, which would be a big step up in ergonomics. More robust magnesium alloy, build deeper grip, like the A9 III improved weather sealing for tougher environments, a possible 9.44 OLED EVF with refresh rates up to 240 Hz, a larger 3.2-inch vari-angle LCD, brighter and more responsive to touch, better heat dissipation for long 8K, 4K shoots. This points toward a premium build that feels closer to a flagship without the flagship price tag. Stabilization and handling: Sony is also expected to improve stabilization. The A7V should feature 5-axis in-body stabilization, possibly upgraded with a new dynamic active mode. This could combine mechanical digital stabilization for even smoother handheld shooting. For vloggers, filmmakers, and event shooters, this means steadier footage without always needing a gimbal. Release date and pricing. So, when can we expect it? Early rumors pointed to a March 2025 launch, but recent reports suggest production delays that could push the release to late 2025 or even early 2026. As for pricing, the leaks put around $2,800, $3,000 or €3,200, $3,500 in Europe. Some believe Sony might surprise us with a lower $2,500 entry point, which would make it an insane value. If even half of these rumored specs turn out to be true, this camera could be an absolute game changer. A 44MP sensor for incredible detail, AI-powered autofocus that feels almost futuristic, 20 frames per second burst speeds that rival pro sports cameras, and high-end video options like 4K, 120 frames per second, and possibly 8K, all packed into a body that's expected to cost less than half of Sony's flagship Alpha 1 2.4 photographers. It promises insane levels of resolution and speed. For videographers, it could be one of the most versatile 4K and maybe 8K cameras in its class. And for hybrid creators, it might just become the perfect all-in-one tool. But now I want to hear from you. What excites you most about the A7V? Is it the higher resolution sensor for stills, the next-gen AI autofocus, or the video power with 4K, 120 frames per second, and possible 8K? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I love hearing your perspectives and predictions. And of course, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my upcoming deep dives into the Sony A7V and all the other major camera and tech releases of 2025. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.